is my power to wield.
One way or another, this ends here!
Submit! You are finished!
For my people! The era of the Paradon is now!
What are you doing?
But the beast, go! I don't have time for this! Sands, bend to my will! Impede my enemies! Blood! Forge our hate! The Marrakech will pay! The era of the Faradun is now! We'll grind you into dust! 10,000 spears! Take our hate!
Hey guys, Dandy here back with another video, and in this one I'll be showing you the build that I'm currently playing and a little bit struggling with, and I'll get into that later. But for the purpose of this video, I am playing a double cast on minion death Infernalist. Now, that's a lot to take into and a lot of moving parts to the build, so let's get right into it. Basically, we are an Infernalist playing a cast on death with Raging Spirits to proc the cast on death. How does that actually work? Well, let's see here. Well, we have our Raging Spirits. When we cast our Flame Wall or Fireball, the Raging Spirits will appear and they will slowly die. The idea is to make them die as fast as possible, and when they die, they will proc our Comets. The Comets are the main damage dealers. As you can see, when they die, Comets rain everywhere. Now, that's the main idea of the build. Summoning Raging Spirits. Summoning Raging Spirits die as fast as possible. They proc Comets. Comets do the damage. And yeah, that's the main idea of the build. You can also proc it with Fireball. Fireball I've been using for clear. It basically does the same, but for bossing it's pretty bad because the Raging Spirits are going all over the place when with Flame Wall they are pretty close to the boss itself. So yeah, that's how the build works. As for the Ascendancy, I am a Infernalist, as I mentioned, and these are my Ascendancy points. I am going with Altered Flesh for a little bit of survivability. I am going with Loyal Hellhound, even though he's probably most of the time dead. I'm thinking about maybe ditching him and putting 1 point into max mana and 1 into spell damage here, but we'll see. I am using Grinning Immolation. Grinning Immolation, it says becoming ignited when you deal a critical hit, takes taking 15% of your life and energy shield as fire damage per second, with the upside of 30% more critical damage bonus. This is like a more damage multiplier. We negate this by going completely immune to ignite. I'll show you how that works in a second. And for the last point of an Ascendancy, I'm using Pyromantic Pact, which transforms all our mana into Infernal Flame, and instead of losing mana, we gain Infernal Flame as we cast our spells. Take maximum life and energy shield as fire damage when Infernal Flame reaches maximum. Lose all Infernal Flame on reaching maximum Infernal Flame. So basically, instead of our mana pool going from up to down, it goes from down to up. So, as you can see, when I cast spells, Infernal Flame goes up, and I take damage. See? So that's how Infernal Flame works, basically. The reason I'm taking Infernal Pyromantic Pact is because this would be impossible to sustain on the normal mana build. I feel like the mana cost would be absolutely ridiculous. Like my Eye of Winter alone is 401 Infernal Flame. Not to mention when these proc, they cost a lot of mana. 325 mana, 368 mana. So that's the main reason of the Pyromantic Pact. Alright, so that's our Ascendancy. Now let's see how we get immune to Ignite. I have a chess piece here which gives me 56% reduced Ignite duration on you. Now 56% is not enough to get you immune to Ignite, so we need to find another source of that. I was hoping for Boots, but GGG and all their mighty wisdom decided that Boots can roll reduced shock and chill duration, but not Ignite. So why? I have no idea. So we're getting our chance to our reduced Ignite duration from our Against Darkness, which says small passive skills in radius also grant 6% reduced Ignite duration on you. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 small passives that give me reduced Ignite duration. Combined with my chess piece, that puts me at minus 104 Ignite on self. So basically, that means I get to use Grinning Immolation without the downsides, just the 30% more critical damage bonus. So that's one problem to solve. The next one would be to solve your survivability with Pyromantic Pact. How do we do that? Well, we get 90% maximum fire resistance for 90% mitigation of your hits that you get from Pyromantic Pact. How do we do that? You could go for a maximum resistances on your chest. The implicit one, it's a base. I personally have 3% max fire res on my shield. And I have a few jewels with maximum fire resistance. 2, 3. I have 4 jewels with max fire res. So I get 8% max resist from that. I get from this one as well, notable passive skills grant you +1 max fire res. I have 1, 2, 3. So I get 3 max res from this. I get from 2 from each of my jewels. and and 3 from my shield, and that takes me to 90% maximum fire rate. As you can already tell, there's a lot of problems in the build that need to be fixed. And we're not even getting into the damaging part, we're just trying to stay alive. Now, let's see. We talked over the ascendancy. We talked how the build basically works. Now, how do we get our raging spirits to die as fast as possible? As you can see, they don't die that fast in the hideout, but in maps, they die almost instantly. How do we do that? Well, we are using this amulet, Fire Flower. We don't care about any lines. You don't want plus high levels, you want plus 1. The main line you want is take 100 fire damage when you ignite an enemy. But that wouldn't do much for the summoning raging spirits until we get Necromantic Talisman. The keystone. All bonuses from an equipped amulet apply to your minions instead. So, every time my SRS ignite, they take 100 fire damage. And because they're linked to Infernal Legion, they ignite all the time when something's nearby them. Okay. So they take a lot of damage from Infernal Legion, Minion Instability, and Fire Flower. So that's how we get our skilly heads there to just pop as fast as possible. Ideally, you would want a level 4 Raging Spirit. The less HP, the better. I'm even thinking about starting a new character and just rushing King of the Mist in the campaign to get the necessary level 4 Spirit Gem. Because I can't seem to find one on the market, which is kind of annoying. Alright, so let's go into the next one. Cast on Minion Death. In order for this to work, this needs... Oh, finish that. As you can see here, gain 50 base energy when a minion is killed, modified by minion power. 50% increased energy gained. Now, trigger all Socrates spells and lose all energy on reaching maximum energy. This is how this works. Basically, when a minion dies, we have 5, right? This one goes to 51 and goes back to 50. So we get a lot of energy for minions dying. In order to make this build feel good, you need a lot of increased energy. How do you do that? Again, we're going back to the jewels. This jewel here, the Time Lost Sapphire, has a line that says, notable passive skills in Radials also grant meta skills, which is, as you can see in the description, Cast on Death. Cast on Minion Death is a meta skill. Grant 5% increased energy. So I got 1, 2. So I got 2 points here, right? It doesn't reach that one. So I'm getting 10% increased energy from these. And also there's a line that says small passives in radius also grant 3% increased maximum energy shield. So I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 21% increased maximum energy shield from just these nodes. Plus, you take all the the energy gain thingies over here. You take them over here. And, yeah. You just get a lot of multipliers to your energy, so it just procs faster and faster. Ideally. So when you get 100 energy, these will pop, and your comments will come down. So that's basically how the build works. If you don't have any additional source of gaining energy, the build will feel really bad. Like, really bad. I wouldn't even recommend it without getting additional energy generation or whatever. Alright, so that was the damaging part, how the damage works. Let's get into the skill gems now, and I'll see what I missed when we go forward. So, I'm using my Infernal Hellhound with Elemental Army, Minion Mastery, Meat Shield, Culling Strike, and Immolate. This is very important. Immolate. You need Immolate for your summoning Infernal Hellhound because of the amulet. Take 100 fire damage when you ignite an enemy. With the keystone, this applies to the minions. So you need Immolate so your Hound doesn't ignite enemies because then your SRS couldn't ignite the enemy, and then you would do no damage because they wouldn't kill themselves fast enough. So emulate is very important here. Flame wall with no links, just for bossing to pop my Scully boys. I guess for bossing you could swap, you put the arcane tempo in. I guess that could work. Our first cast on minion that is Comet with Impetuous, which gives you 40% increased energy. Spell Echo, consider casting, because it's a cast on minion death, the downside of less cast speed doesn't matter, so you only get 40% more damage with spell hits. And Conk Effect. Second cast on minion death is Comet, Energy Retention, which has 35% chance to refund half of their energy cost. Spell Cascade and Cold Mastery, because again, GG and all their wisdom decided you can use only one support per gem, which is great. Grim Fist with nothing. I am using Eye of Winter to get more crit chance against targets, against bossing especially, because fires 8 shards and... oh Jesus. There inflicts critical weakness on enemies, so critical weakness causes hits against affected targets to have 0.5% increased critical strike chance, can stack up to 20 times. So that's another 10% to critical strike chance when you get max critical weakness applied on the enemy. I'm using Wild Shards, Unleash, and Glaciation to increase freezing buildup. I'm using Orb of Storms with Persistence, consider Coursing Current to spread shocks, and Magnified Effect. Again, I'm mostly using this only for bossing. Shield Charge for mobility with Ingenuity and Second Wind, Fireball with Scatter Shot, Arcane Tempo, and Mobility. So these are my gems. Like I said, basically you just cast this to get additional critical strike chance on bosses. Summon SRS, they die, Comets Ray down, and you do damage. Now, let's get into the gear. Because our amulet applies to our minions, we don't get enough spirit. As you can see, I have 180 spirit, but losing the amulet slot means you cannot possibly socket all these auras like Grim Feast, double cast on minion death, and Raging Spirits. Because Raging Spirits cost 30 spirit, cast on minion death 60, so that's 120, 150. And then another 30 for Grim Feast. So that's 180 spirit that you need. How do you get it? You get 100 from the campaign. You can get up to 60 on a chess piece, or 60... I think it's 61 I think you can get on the chess piece. But then you still wouldn't be able to get enough spirit. We're not running a scepter because we need the cast speed and a +5 to all call skills. So you get spirit from a corrupted helmet. Like I said, this build has a lot of problems that need to be fixed in order to work properly. Yeah, so you get a corruption on your helmet with spirit to get to the minimum of 180. So, the amulet, I forgot to anoint this, but I would probably anoint the node that gives you damage per block. It's somewhere around here, this one. 1% increased damage per 1% chance to block. I will probably anoint that one. So, the gear, amulet, is for the minions. You get spirit from your helmet. The main priority what to get on the helmet is the spirit corruption, resistances, life regeneration. Very important life regeneration, because whenever pyromantic pact procs, if you have shield regen, it will stop your shield regen and you will just die. So we need to take Zealot's Oath for life recovery to be applied to energy shield. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to do one map. So priorities for gear is resistances, life regeneration, ES. So that's my helmet. The glove, high ES, high resistances and rarity. Boots, movement speed, ES, resistances, life regeneration, and rarity. For my rings, I am using whatever rings I could find to complement Ingenuity. I got cast speed, fire res, life regeneration, and rarity. Also lightning damage, that would be great if it would be cold damage, preferably. For my other ring, like this one's a pretty good ring. It's got cold damage, rarity, all res, cold res, and regen. Now, ingenuity really shines here because if I have 170 life recovery. If I take this one, I'm down to 134. So I lose quite a bit of life regeneration. For my chest piece, again, high life regeneration, high ES, and spirit. For the shield, max res, and high ES. And if you can get high chance to block, so you can get higher block chance, that would be great, preferably. For the wand, we want to get damages extra cold, damages extra lightning. You want to get cold damage or spell damage, plus 5 to all cold spell skill gems. You ideally in the suffix you want cast speed or crit damage or crit chance for spells. Ideally. So yeah, that's the main gear. This one's not that good because I don't actually need another skill slot, but it's the best I could find. And most importantly, your mana flask. You need a good mana flask. You need the mod that gives you increased life recovered and gain charges per second. This is very, very important, especially during bosses. It is impediment that you get a good life flask, because otherwise you will just kill yourself. Alright, so that's the gear. Let's go into the skill tree and the jewels. I'm pathing over here, getting ES, ES int, more ES. I'm pathing over here for the spell critical damage bonus and the critical strike chance for spells. And further up, I'm gonna level up and take this one for more crit hit chance for spells. And cast speed if you deal a critical strike is pretty good. Then I'm pathing over here for more ES and 20% of maximum energy shield as additional stun threshold. Getting necromantic talisman, pathing all the way up, getting additional energy shields. Storm charge for increased critical hit chance. And plus 5 res and elemental damage from all natural. Pathing all the way down to Zealot's Oath so we can actually survive during a map. And I'm taking also this wheel over here for increased block chance. And 1% increased damage per 1% chance to block. So that's how my shield has 43% chance to block. But when I equip it, it's 62 because you can get this one right here, 30% increased chance to block. And you can also get it on jewels. I'm pathing then over here for controlling magic. Again, increased critical hit chance for spells. Pathing all the way here for the cast speed. This is not really ideal because it's you don't really need that much cast speed if you got cast speed on your rings, but it is what it is. I'm taking all these trigger wheels, going CI, taking freeze buildup, which is very important because freeze buildup hits ignore non-negative elemental resistances on frozen enemies. You can freeze bosses almost constantly, so when they're frozen, you ignore their resistance. That's why we're not taking any curses like frostbite or something. So yeah. Then we're pathing over here. We're taking this eternal use, so our flask applies to energy shield. That's why I said you need a good flask. More trigger stuff, more crit. And yeah, this jewel that I already showed you, meta skills get increased energy and increased maximum energy shield. For the jewels, you want +2 max fire res and life regeneration. You can get increased armor, increased chance to block. And let's see, what else do I have? What other jewels do I have? Armor, max fire, life regen, you increase defenses from equipped shield is also really good. This one is increased cold damage, max ES, critical hit chance for spells, and meta skills gain 12% increased energy. You can get this on jewels as well. And then +2 max fire res, increased life regeneration rate, defenses from equipped shield. You can see where this is going. And max fire res, life regeneration rate, defenses from equipped shield. That's the main things you want. You could get like spell damage, cold damage if you find another way to cap your get to 90% max fire res. You can get jewels like this one with percent increase AES, critical hit chance for spells, critical damage for spells. Most important line is meta skills, gain increased energy. And then you want cold damage or spell damage or elemental damage or stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the tree and jewels. So yeah, I think that covers almost everything. The main downside of this build is that, one, I haven't like finished dabbling with it. I'm not 100% convinced that the investment is worth it. It is a very high risk, high reward playstyle, and the trigger on bosses can be a little bit iffy. Like, you go, if the boss is over here and the comet goes there, that's lost damage. So I'll continue to work on this for a while. If I think it's worth it, then I'll post an update like I did with my Infernalist Demon Lady. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you very much for spending your time watching this video. If you like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care and stay safe.